Okay. I don't know what happened there. I just moved something a little bit and everything went off. Hi, Dave. Just everything went off, so I don't know why it went off. I just moved my laptop a little bit because the sun was coming in and shining against everything. So I just moved my laptop and everything went off. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we're back. We're back on it now. Yeah, Sharon Gamble, I'm back. Good sound and picture. Thanks very much. I don't know why it went off. I'm not a technophobe, I really aren't. And as I say, I'm using a new webcam that I bought when I came here. And as I say, just using my laptop and things like that. So I prefer it back in Thailand because they have it all set up and it's all done and dusted, and you don't have to alter anything. You just press and go, and away we go. So where was I for? Oh yeah, for crime in the UK. It's just getting more and more. As I said about the incident in the hospital where 4 policemen were tied up with 2 people that had been fighting. Times that by how many policemen are on duty, and like it's a large percentage, I would have said. 4 policemen off duty for 5 or 6 hours out of their 12-hour shift. It's crazy. Broken nose, and the guys that had been fighting were just sleeping it off in the emergency room. And there was one old lady in there. She'd been discharged at 1 o'clock in the morning, but she decided to stay in the accident and emergency because she said it's warmer here than it is in my house. So she stayed in accident emergency, and she was asking everybody, what was wrong with them, why they were in hospital. And that was her talking to other people and keeping warm, but in the hospital. Crazy, isn't it? Right. The only thing I wouldn't miss about Thailand, the dangerous roads. Apart from that, everything is better in Thailand. Yeah, the dangerous roads. The roads are horrendously dangerous. I think Thailand is ranked number 2, the worst place to drive in the world. Because I used to drive the fire engines here in the UK, I got taught how to drive defensively, and that and that helps me, I think, driving in Thailand, because I'm always in the mirrors like that, looking at everything before I move left, before I move right. I look in the mirrors, and just to make sure that everything is okay, because motorcyclists overtake you on the inside when they shouldn't, but they do. So the potholes, there's quite a few potholes here and there, obviously, and there's some big potholes. When you hit one of them, you know about it. But England, their roads over here, because I used to work in road safety also in the UK, it's quite safe driving on our roads. There's a lot of safety mechanisms there. I mean, if they're changing the street lamp on the motorways, there's like a cordoned off for about a mile before you even get to where they're working. Whereas in Thailand, it might be 100 meters. So that it's certainly much more dangerous in Thailand if you're working on the road situation. But that was a question, yeah, about what do I miss from the UK compared to Thailand. I would say I'm struggling to finding anything that I miss. I certainly don't miss the cold. That's the biggest thing. I say walking around in shorts and flip-flops, 365 days of the year is nice. The people are nice. The crime in Thailand is very, very low. The prices for everything is very, very low in Thailand in comparison to here. Yeah, there are some things that are more expensive in Thailand than there are here. But on the whole, everything is much cheaper. I mean, for a coffee, in Amazon coffee, 45 to 50 baht now for a cup of coffee. And the cheapest one that I found here is like 60, 65 baht from Wetherspoons, or £1.35. So yeah, Thailand, I sing its praises all the time. It's not for everybody. Some people don't like the heat. Some people don't like the, just the, what was I going to say? Just the ambience of the place. That some people find it dirty, or the street food, and people don't like the street food. But I've never ever been sick eating street food. But some people just can't get away with it. They think it's dirty. But it's probably the healthiest food because they have such a high turnover of food on the street vendors. All right, let's have a look on here. Hello from a cold and grey Holland. Yeah. That's one thing I don't like. I don't mind it being cold as long as it's blue skies, because then you can wrap up. But when it's grey as well and it's cold, it sort of depresses you. Maybe as I suffer a little bit from seasonal order, whatever, SAD, I think they call it, is the acronym for it. And I just don't like grey skies. I don't like grey days. The roads are good in Thailand if the standard of driving that is, yeah, I'd agree with that. But the amount of Thai people that don't have the driving licenses, because it takes 1 or 2 days to get a driver's license. And that's if you pass all the tests and that. And if you fail all the tests, then it can take days and days and days. Now, that's going to take a full day's salary to try and get a driver's license. My wife has just renewed her driver's license, and that took over half a day to fill all the paperwork out and do all of the, what needed to be done. So just the administrative side effects of getting a Thai license, it can take a long, long time, and the Thai people, they don't have the time, they don't have the money to do that. So that's why lots of them drive around with no licenses. But now the fines have gone up for everything with regard to no helmets, no license, no insurance. So hopefully that might persuade a few more people to actually do something about it. Got to miss Yorkshire pudding. No, my sister's going to do me some Yorkshire puddings. She's already got Christmas dinner planned, and I've told her not to make it a mountain, because she just tries to kill me with kindness and feed me all the stuff that I don't get in Thailand. Chelsea buns, custard slices, custard cake. So I know I will put weight on whilst I'm over here. So for those people who are watching me keto, I'll be back on keto diet when I come back to Thailand. Just forget about it over the Christmas period. I'll put a few pounds on, and I'll take it off when I get back to Thailand. Maybe I'm the exception, but I don't find the roads in Thailand very dangerous in daylight. Yeah. My biggest concern with the roads in Thailand is when you do the U-turns. U-turns are up. There's one particular event. We're going to see my wife's friend at the where she lived in Karat, and we had to do a U-turn on a brow of a hill on a motorway, 4-lane motorway. So you're going from a standing start, pulling out in front of people that are doing 60 and 70 miles an hour anyway. And that's just so dangerous. That shouldn't be happening in Thailand. It's just so dangerous, especially when you get the lorries who are going to turn into that traffic also. And when I drove from my wife's farm to the airport, I always allowed plenty of time, and I anticipated I was going to have 5 hours in the airport before I flew, and that was whittled down to 2.5 hours because there was a big accident on the motorway going from Karat down to Bangkok, and a big lorry had actually veered off the motorway and headed towards a petrol station, nearly crashed into the petrol pumps, but just destroyed all the wall. There was concrete and bits of lorry all over the carriageway. So yeah, accidents do happen, and invariably their fire service, for rescuing people, is not up to the Western standards of being able to rescue people. But saying that, in England, if somebody had a bad accident, the roads would be closed for up to 24 hours whilst they did the investigation. In Thailand, they get the motorway open as quickly as they can. You know, they might sweep everything up and move everything so that gathering of the evidence takes second place to keeping the traffic moving. Now, is that a good thing or is it a bad thing? Yeah, swings and roundabouts, I think. Right, let's have a look. Street food I love the street food. I absolutely love it because it's like barbecued, and you know, many times we go for a barbecue on the beach, and we just sit there, and next thing you just click your fingers, and somebody will come along, and you've got your chicken, you've got your prawns, you've got your seafood stuff. It's just amazing, and it's very, very cheap. £50 for an Amazon coffee is very expensive when you consider the Thai minimum wage is £300 a day. Yeah, I agree with you. As far as Thai prices are concerned, but for example, I'm just going on about us foreigners and the cost of living. We can live a better lifestyle there because of our income, and it is far more than a Thai person. And that's all I do my um, comparisons with, because of the money that I earn here and my pension, how far that goes in Thailand, and it goes much further than it would do in the UK. Yes, and £50 for a cup of coffee for a Thai person is very expensive. But can you imagine a Thai person wanting to live over here in the UK? He's £300 a day isn't going to go anywhere. So that's all I use the coffee as a comparator because I drink a lot of coffee anyway. But like the other food, you know, one of the videos I did in the Central Festival, you know, 65 baht for kimchi pork, which is beautiful, you know, Korean pork, for like just over £1, £1.50 or so. Now, I got there's a Thai restaurant here in Redcar, and I looked at the Penang curry. The Penang curry is £11 for something that you pay less than 200 baht for in where we live in Ban Phe. So that's a huge difference. But Thai food has always been expensive over here in the UK. So that's why I use my price comparisons for us Westerners with the salaries and the income that we have, not with regarding to Thai people. I do agree, 50 baht for a Thai person. They wouldn't spend 50 baht on a cup of coffee when you're only on 300 baht a day. Let's have a look. Yeah, plenty of Yorkshire puddings in expat restaurants in Pattaya. Yeah, Pattaya. It's you can get everything in Pattaya. That's why I like going to Pattaya, because any food that you want, you can get anything and everything in Pattaya. It's good. That's the one good thing about Pattaya, because the international food that you just get everything there. I always avoid the roads at night. Yeah, I don't like driving at night time. Soy dogs as well when you're on motorbikes. Soy dogs get a little bit more uppity once the sun goes down, because obviously it's not as hot. And then they're chasing, especially up in the village where we where we live, the amount of dogs that actually chase us up and down the village because of the motorbike. But during the day when it's red hot, they just lay there in the shade. That's one thing I've missed walking, you know, because I've done a lot of walking since I've been here for 3 weeks, and no soy dogs. Let's have a look. Do I miss not being able to drink tap water and using it to brush your teeth? Now, we in our house we've got a filtration system, so although the water we wouldn't drink the water from the taps, but it's safe enough to brush your teeth, and I've done that for in the house where we live now for 8 years or so. No, 7 years, and I've never had any problems whatsoever. We buy the big containers of water, you know, the 20 litres of water for, I think now they've gone up to 13, 14 baht now. And we use that for drinking water also, and we've never had any problem. Reverse osmosis process watered. We used to get the bottles of water, but my wife said just drink the bottled water, so we drank the big bottled waters, and we've never ever had a problem. But I've never liked drinking the water out of the tap anyway, so I actually drink a lot more water in Thailand than I do here in England because you're sweating all the time. So actually, water is quite quenching and it's good for you. Let's have a look. Only missing once a couple of days holiday. Pad Thai. Now, I've never really been a fan of Pad Thai. Yeah, I mean, when we drive to my wife's house from where we live, it takes us 6 hours, and the roads are usually very, very good. Um, Rarely have I seen accidents on the road that keep you tied up for hours, like they do in the UK. I drove down to London once, and I allowed myself 6 or 7 hours, you know, extra time to get to the airport. And when I got to the airport, because there'd been 2 accidents driving from the northeast down to London, and I had 30 minutes in which to get through the gate and actually get me flight compared to like 5 hours. That's because of road traffic accidents. So yeah, I mean, there's too many cars on the road here in England. Let's have a look. Oh yeah. Okay, Peter Phillips. Les, I asked you about your wife if she qualifies for your state pension, but your stream went down. So I'm not sure if you answered. No, I didn't answer that one. No, my wife is not entitled to my state pension at all. Again, that's another situation here. If I was married to a European girl, then she would get me pension. And for Ploy to get my pension, she would have to live in the UK for 7 years and make contributions to the national insurance. And that's never, ever going to happen. So sadly, my state pension, again, which I paid into, which is another bone of contention, my wife doesn't get anything from that. But she gets my fire brigade pension, which is good. And she gets my fire brigade pension until she dies or she remarries, which is some compensation, really. But again, the state pension, it's all wrong because you paid into it, you should be entitled to it, and they'll do the best to stop paying you. Again, but that's I don't think that's just England. A few Americans have said that they don't have problems with things like that. Their government just pay out. It's just England. They just don't want to pay anything to anybody. All right. Yeah, live a long way from the crazy side. That's why I lived in Jomtien. Jomtien, you were out the craziness, and there was some semblance of normality living in Jomtien. But then you go into the centre of Pattaya, and it's just like that film Cocoon. At the last time we went to, so many old guys, but it's good to see old guy with a big smile on his face walking around with a pretty young thing on the side of his arm, so he's reborn again, and it has its place. And let's face it, in our older age, we all want to be happier or feel happier. It's obviously a total fabrication for me. I regard Pattaya as like I regard Pattaya like a Pinocchio land. Everything lies, and there's a price to pay for living in Pattaya. Right, let's have a look. The roads, the highways are fantastic as well in Thailand. It's a myth that the roads are bad. Just need to watch out for the police roadblocks, pulling speeders, no seatbelt. Yeah, but is that a crime? Is that bad? The police, when all said and done, are doing their job. They're stopping speeders. You're supposed to wear a seatbelt. So in the 11 years I've lived there, I've only been robbed by the police on one occasion, and that was for 1,800 baht, and I was robbed by the police. But anyway, that's a whole different story. But I've never, ever had to pay any of these T money contributions, because I always wear a helmet, I always have a license, I always make sure my bike's insured, my car's insured. So we never ever have to pay any of these fines that so many people do. It's just stupid watching the foreigners driving around Pattaya with no helmet on, as if they're going to get away with it. There's so many police stops now in Pattaya because there's so many deaths of people driving around motorbikes with no insurance or no helmets on. How stupid, that's my opinion. People are driving around, no insurance, never driven a motorbike before or a scooter, and then to drive one around in Pattaya, one of the dangerous cities in the world with regard to accidents. You're just looking to have an accident. I destroyed the front fork on a Honda Wave by driving through a giant pothole. Yeah, as I say, when it rains and the potholes are filled up with water, you don't know how deep they are. We just use our motorbike just for popping to the shops and things like that, just local. My motorbike's coming up to 9 years old and we've got 12,000 kilometers on it. So you can see we don't actually use it that often. But we do feel much safer driving around in the car than on the motorbike. But we used to drive in the early days, we used to drive all over the place. We used to have a regular weekly motorbike club, and we used to drive maybe up to an hour away from where we lived, go out for coffees or lunch and things like that. And then COVID came and that just stopped everything. So that's something that I aim to get back up again, up and running once I come back to Thailand. We have a breakfast brunch club every Thursday. There's a couple of places, and I think the last time, just before I came away, there was 12 of us for brunch, which is good. Americans, South Africans, Canadians, French, South Africans, English, a good mixture of people. So we put the worlds to rights. There's a new Thai food takeaway just opened 2 days ago in Redcar. Have you tried it? I know. Is that the one on West Dyke Road? I forget what they call it now. And if it is, that's the one that I've seen, the Penang curry for £11, 12 quid, something like that. And just because of that price, I wouldn't refuse to pay that amount of price. Again, pizzas, 8 and 10 and 12 pounds for a pizza. I walk over to Asda and get one for £1.50 or £2.50, rather than paying £8 or £10 for a pizza. It's just crazy money. But then again, I live on a budget, so I only have a certain amount of money. And if I did all that, spent £8 or £10 on a pizza, 12 quid on 2 coffees and a bacon sandwich, my money's soon going to go, isn't it? I don't know how people can live on that amount of money. I really don't. I bet it's important to know that in Thailand, on the road, people are not acting the same way as we used to do by European standards. Stay calm and foresee how the Thais are used. Yeah, you do get used to driving. I treat everybody as an idiot on the road. Everybody's going to pull out in front of me. People are going to do some stupid things. So if you're prepared to do that, I'm not a speeder anyway. I don't speed. I always keep within the law for the speed limit. And like I said earlier on, I'm a nodding dog on my eyes are in the mirrors all of the time. Anytime I go to make a movement, put the indicator on, I'll look in my mirrors. I'll look at everything before I overtake or something. It's defensive driving, but you've got to get used to that also in Thailand. I know the Americans and the Europeans are driving on the wrong side of the road as well, which makes life a lot more complicated as well if you're not used to driving on the same side as what we do in the UK. Bill English, can I open a Thai bank account without permanently living in Thailand? If so, what documents do we need? Yes, you can open up a Thai bank account. It's much, much more difficult now than it was. Basically, the Thai banks want you to put the 800,000 baht in their account. Then it's a little bit more plausible to be able to open a Thai bank account. But even that now is getting a little bit more difficult. But there's agents now, and there's two. There's Mott's agency in Pattaya and Key Visa. And I think Mott's do open up a bank account for about 3,500 baht, and Key Visa does it for about 5,500 baht. But it's opened up on the same day, whether you're on a tourist visa or you're on a retirement visa. It might sound a lot of money, but by the time you've been to half a dozen banks, sitting and waiting and getting told you can't open a bank account, it's well worth paying that extra bit of money and opening up a Thai bank account for sure. That's what I suggest people to do, is to go through an agent to open up a bank account. And it's okay, yeah, you're paying some money to do it, but at the end of the day, you come out with your bank account on the same day. Thai to go every dish is £7. All right, I'll have to have a look, see where that is. £7 is reasonable, I think, for what it is. Newcastle Thai street food. I'm flying from Newcastle, so I'm going to Newcastle the day before I fly, so I might have a little scoot around Newcastle. Robert MacMedia. Yes, I'm feeling much better. Thank you very much. Been here for 3 weeks now. I'm getting used to the time difference. I'm getting used to. I've still got the cough, as you can hear, the emphysema, and when you go out in the cold air, it does make my chest sore a little bit for a half an hour or so until I got used to it. But on the whole, yeah, feeling much better. 3 weeks and I'm into it now. And apart from the cold, that still bites hard, the cold, getting wrapped up every time you walk out. Capricorn is more lenient than the other. Yeah, the two best ones really are the Capricorn and the Bangkok banks. Yeah, pretty painless to get a bank account. You can be lucky and you can go to a bank and they'll open it up, no problem. But then there's other banks that you just can't seem to get your foot through the door to get it opened. I'd go first to try and open it yourself. But if you've only got £200 or £300 to shove in a bank account in Thailand and you don't have a retirement visa, then you're going to struggle to open up a bank account on a tourist visa. But it's still, for me, it's still worthwhile paying that amount of money to open a bank account, because if you use your ATM, it's 220 baht times every time you do a withdrawal. That's a lot of money, 220 baht. It's like £5 to draw some money out. And at the time, my Barclays bank account would only let me draw £300 out a day. So at £5 every time, that's a big chunk of money coming off your 300 quid. Zappa Bellevue. I'm not particularly bothered about going to Middlesbrough. I just think, going by talking to the lads yesterday, Middlesbrough is a very dangerous place. Yeah, you can use a Thai lady to open up a bank account years ago. It was simple. But if you need a bank account in your name, then the Thai person can't do it for you, because you need your passport and you need the identification and that. So it is different. If you want to open up a joint account, yeah, the Thai lady could open up your bank account for you, but to have it in your name, it becomes a little bit more difficult. Thanks for your advice with regards to living in the Philippines for the pension increase, going for Christmas and New Year, but hopefully retirement next year. All the best and get better soon. Thanks very much, Charlie. Yeah, the Philippines, Old Dog New Tricks, Paul, he does some good vlogs from the Philippines, and he came over to Thailand with his girlfriend, and I seem to think that he'll end up in Thailand before long. I've never been to the Philippines myself, but talking to the people, obviously I can talk to a lot of people here on the internet, you get to hear what they're thought. And as far as the infrastructure and the internet and everything else in Thailand is far more superior than the Philippines. And crime in the Philippines, there's a guy that I know. He moved to the Philippines for 6 months, and he said, if I lived in a house in Thailand, I left something in the garden for 6 months, it'd still be there 6 months later. He said, if you left something valuable in the garden in the Philippines, it's gone by the following morning. So crime is quite high in the Philippines by all accounts. And crime is sort of on my big list of, I don't want to experience violence or crime and things like that. But everybody to their own. There's lots of people doing that. Oh, Ian, thanks very much for the super chat. £5. Much appreciated. Yeah, I can nearly get 2 coffees for that now. But if I go to Weatherspoons, I can have a few because it's £1.35 for as many coffees as you want. Thanks very much appreciated. Morning, Les, from sunny Bognor Regis. Oh, Bognor Regis. Many years ago, I was down in Bognor Regis. Actually, it's a nice part of the world, Bognor Regis. It doesn't sound very plush, Bognor Regis, but it's a very nice area. Let's have a look. My retirement is getting closer. I'm very much looking forward to being in Thailand long time again. There are so many positive experiences in Asia that I am so happy to have had since the 80s. My sister and her son came over a number of years ago, and just to put it in perspective, Nathan did more once-in-a-lifetime experiences in Thailand than he's ever done in his life. And, rode on an elephant, being lifted by an elephant, sat in a crocodile's back, swam with dolphins, just to name a few of the things, fired a gun. And as far as life experiences, Thailand, there's many things you can do. It's a wonderful place. It's as expensive as you want to make it, and it can be as cheap as you want to make it. Now I always go on the cheap side of it because I'm living on a budget. I have about £1,500 a month to live on, and I can easily live on that in Thailand. And I'm buying my house, we bought the car, and we live a good life on that amount of money. And there's guys that I know that are living on the state pension, just the state pension of £700 or £800 a month, and it can be done. I spent time in the Philippines. You are right. The infrastructure here in Thailand is 100% better. It's every bit as good as the US. Thank you. It's nice for other people to, to agree with regard to that. I mean, not having been to the Philippines, I really can't speak about it, but just listening to what other people say, Thailand, the internet here at my sister's, she pays a lot more for the internet here than I do in Thailand, but my internet speeds in Thailand are much faster than they are here in the UK. Paul Nolan watching from Australia. I liked it. I was there for 3 months traveling around in a juicy van for a month. I just loved it. That was just like a car with a mattress in it, and it was just a mind-blowing experience. Living in Sydney for Christmas and New Year, probably the most expensive place I've ever stayed, but it was worth every single penny. Loved Australia. Sydney, so expensive but beautiful. So not so nice today. Grey, dull. But the sun's coming out here now. We've got the blind shut because the sun's coming through the windows. I'm leaving Vietnam on the 20th to meet friends in Thailand. Now, Vietnam was my second choice that I was going to live because I love Vietnam. Beautiful place. But English is much more widely spoken in Thailand than it is in Vietnam. But Vietnam's a stunningly beautiful place as well. I'd like to live there also. In fact, we're going to go back to Vietnam next year. My wife, we went to Sapa, and I did my round the world trip for 2 years. And I tell everybody Sapa is the most beautiful place I've been to around the world because it's just stunningly beautiful, jaw-droppingly beautiful. And I've been to Hawaii, I've been to New York, I've been to Las Vegas, the Grand Canyon, everything. And Sapa, for me, knocks the spots off everything. But again, that's my opinion. Ha Long Bay is stunningly beautiful. All right. 46 people and only 5 thumbs up. I can see 11 thumbs up. 46 people and 11 thumbs up. If you want to give it a thumbs up, give it a thumbs up. If you don't, it's okay. I just appreciate it. I mean, 44, 45 people, it's amazing. So thanks very much for everybody that's tuned in. I'm doing a meeting on the 9th of this month, the 9th of December at the Weatherspoons. And that's from about 11 o'clock onwards. I did a video about it. I'll be there for 2 or 3 hours. So anybody that wants to pop in and say hi, I've got a meeting with a couple on Monday at the Weatherspoons. They've come from Bishop Auckland and they're come to ask a few questions. I'm mindful of knowledge. So those people who want to come and live in Thailand or ask any questions, ask the nitty-gritty questions if you want to ask the nitty-gritty questions also. And I'll tell everybody what they want to know. Right, as the skeleton do a £1 meal over 60s, including bottomless hot drinks. They over 60s. Well, but it's a long way to Skelton from here. It's about an hour on the bus to Skelton, and the cost, because I don't get any subsidised bus fares. I mean, bus travel, it was costing me to get to Middlesbrough and back to the hospital was £6.70 a day to go to the hospital. And to go from where I live now into the town centre, it's £1.70, £3.40, I think it is, for a return. But I walk down to Redcar. It's about 3 or 4 kilometres, but I'll do the walk. I don't mind doing that. Hopefully I can retire to Koh Samui in the future, move to Australia from the UK. Australia is a beautiful place, but it's so expensive. It is so expensive, Australia. Koh Samui that's the place that changed my view of life totally and utterly in 2002. I went to Koh Samui. I seen how happy people lived in Koh Samui with no money. And I had 4 or 5 jobs, working 7 days a week, trying to keep up with the Joneses, if you like. Where I lived in Redcar at the time was keeping up with the Joneses. If somebody got a new car, somebody else got a new car, and furniture, Parker and Stonehouse and all of that lot. And I lived that. And then I was going through the divorce and I ended up going through bankruptcy. And then seeing how happy these people were in Koh Samui, such a stunning, beautiful island, happier than I was, and they have nothing. And that's the Koh Samui. It'll always hold a special place in my mind because of that actually changed my view on life as far as living and being happy with what you have and don't chase the dream of owning everything, because there's always somebody more wealthy than you. Right. Partners, this is Saigon. I've never had any problems except few language issues. Yeah, well, Vietnam during COVID, didn't they just throw everybody out because there's no retirement visas in Vietnam? So they sort of asked all foreigners to vacate the country. And that was sort of the only thing that I didn't particularly like about it. I know people complain about in Thailand that the Thai government could throw us all out at the drop of a hat, and that's correct and that's true. But Vietnam actually did that because they don't have a retirement visa, and I don't know what your rights are if you're married to a Vietnamese girl as to whether you can actually stay there or what type of visa you can get. But many people have asked me whether I'd want to, because I've lived there for so long, do a citizenship with regard to living in Thailand. Well, I can't speak the language. I struggle with Thai, even though I've tried. But again, money helps the wheels go around, and you can sort of not bypass the interview, but you can be guided through it if you like. But just for that visa, citizenship visa, it's 95,000 baht for the citizenship visa, and then it's 7,000 baht for all the paperwork. And that's 95, and it could go up to 150,000 baht. My visa cost me 1,900 baht a year, so I'll jump through the hoops, do all the paperwork, then pay 95,000 baht for, being able to buy your own plot of land, or get the same entry price into the parks as a Thai person. I'll pay the extra little bit of money and the inconvenience of not being a Thai citizen or citizenship. But I can understand some of the people who want to do it that way. And I admire those people who can learn how to speak Thai, because I find it very, very difficult. Right, let's have a look. Barry here. Any suggestions for gifts for special Thai people when you first meet from the UK? Not really, no. Again, I don't want to spoil anybody's dream or illusions of finding the perfect girl in Thailand, but I've met a lot of people who've met the girls on the internet, and they think, they are the only person that this girl's talking to. But I did go out with a girl that I met on the internet, and talking to her, and this is going back a lot of years ago, 8, 9 years ago, maybe now, and she was getting 150 emails a week. And that's before COVID came and the internet explosion now. The girls are getting hundreds, if not thousands, of emails every week, and they can pick and choose. And I said to all of those people, don't be fooled by what they say on the internet, because unless you're living there full time, you'll never know truly what's going on. Over the past few months, I've maybe met 9 guys that have met the girls on the internet, and 7 of them within 2 weeks they'd finished. So because it just didn't match. And the girls, when you think of it, if they're getting income from 20 or 30 guys, why do they want to meet? Why do they want to start a relationship? Because then that stops that income from coming in. Well, that's been my sort of view on it, type of thing. You've got to live in Thailand really to get to know the girl that you're going to be with. There's ways and means that the girls can extract money from you, that they know whether you're worth pursuing or not, because they'll say that, oh, I'm going to send you a present from Thailand, so what's your address? So you give them your address, and they'll Google Maps it to see where you live, to see whether you live in an affluent area, to see whether you're worthwhile pursuing or not. It's just the things that I've seen and read about and experienced and talked with other people about. That's what I'm saying, my mind of information. Anybody can ask any questions, that they want, and I'll give them, a no BS answer. And invariably, it's not the answer that most people want to hear. But buyer beware for everything. So no, there's nothing really that you need to buy them from the UK. On first meeting them, just go out for a meal and enjoy it and see where you go from there. The courtship sort of over there is totally different to what it is over here. No, yeah, you're correct, Bruce. Vietnam doesn't have a long-term visa alternative, so therefore that's when Corona came, that they asked all the foreigners to leave, and now Vietnam is back open again now. So, but it just scared people, I think. The fact that you could up sticks and think, oh, I'm going to live the rest of my life in Vietnam, and only be told, no, you can't. Whereas Thailand, they've extended the visas, extended it, and many people have lived here maybe for 4 or 5 years, 2 or 3 years, on just the extensions because of the COVID rules. So you've got to give Thailand credit where credit's due. That they have helped many people stay in this country if they couldn't get home. They just didn't say, I don't care, you're going to leave the country no matter what. All right, Les. Just to say, Les, big kudos to you going through the struggles, bankruptcy, etc., and being happy and getting on your life. Well done. Yeah. Some people say I'm a little bit open with my life experiences, if you like, but I don't do it for pity. I don't do it for bragging rights. I don't do it for any other reason but to help those guys that are going through the same situation. When I went through bankruptcy, I had nobody to talk to. What is bankruptcy? What's the result of it? But after I went through bankruptcy, and because I was an officer in the fire brigade, and I went to various fire stations, acting up in charge, there was always somebody knocking on my door once they found out I'd been bankrupt, because they were in financial, difficulties themselves. So I was an ear to listen to these people's problems, and I give suggestions on how they could one, avoid bankruptcy and how they can get out of it, because when I went bankruptcy, I learned so many other things that would have been helpful at the times if somebody could have told me. So divorce. Some people say I'm not the right person to ask for relationships because I've been divorced. That's correct, but I'm the right person to ask so you don't get robbed by the solicitors when you're getting divorced. So I've got some good points and I've got some bad points. But I think I do it because if somebody's going through that deepest, darkest hole, there's always light at the end of the tunnel, and that's what I'm here for, and that's what I can suggest. And if you want to take that advice, you take that advice. But if you don't want to take that advice, well, don't. I don't do any BS. I believe that the advice that I give is genuine and honest, and I've never robbed or hurt anybody. And I think being nice to everybody is the way to go. And that's what I hope that I come across as. Many people have said, Leslie, your honesty shines through. And thanks very much for all those people that have said that. All right. Okay. I hope to retire in about 6 years and move from Holland to Thailand. Go to live in Buriram as a home base and travel a lot on a bike and have lots of beach holidays in Thailand when I get bored. Many people have asked me, do I get bored being retired? I retired at the age of 50 and I've never, ever been bored. I'm not a bored person. I've always got something to do. And I love traveling around. You don't need a lot of money to travel around. We stay in 500 to 1,000 baht, hotel rooms when we go on holiday. Why do you need to spend 2,000 or 3,000 baht on a hotel room when you're out enjoying yourselves for all day and you just in reality sleep in the hotel room? Some of the hotels that we stayed in, I did the float house. That was the most expensive hotel room that we've ever stayed in the 12 years, 11 years of traveling around Thailand. And that was over 5,000 baht for the night. And then the other one, 2,500 baht. That's expensive for us. But for me, I think it was well worth it. The holiday was fantastic. And we got a good feeling from that. But our normal hotel rooms are 500 to 1,000 baht a night. And you get some acceptable accommodation for that around Thailand. So, yeah, you'll never get bored traveling around, especially if you've got a big motorbike. You'll enjoy it. Okay, Robert, got to run. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks very, very much for watching and putting a few comments on there. Thanks very much. Billy Bob, what address would you give to open up a bank account if you're moving in around the country? Is that in Thailand or is that in the UK? Because if it's in the UK, some people have asked me about keeping their English bank accounts open. Well, you can do. And I'm with the Barclays Bank, and Barclays Bank said to me, I didn't need a postal address in the UK as long as I've got an email that they contact me. So an email and a phone number is all Barclays Bank need from you to keep your English bank account open. And with regard to an address in Thailand, yeah, it would make sense to have an address. But if you go with an agent, he can sort of do an address that might have 1,000 people living at the same address, but it's a postal address, and you can do all your internet banking anyway in Thailand on the internet. So an address is just a part of the documentation that you need to fill out, but the agent can sort all out for you, no problem. Met my Thai girlfriend online 5 years ago, came over and met her. We've been together ever since. Wonderful woman. Getting married in a few months' time. Fantastic. Good to hear. The internet stories are not all doom and gloom, although I've said a few, bad stories about it. But I think the internet is a good place to meet people as well, because, as I said, you're not walking around in a barn, you're not walking around, and it's intimidating, trying to find a girlfriend, and there's ways and means of doing it. I would say, for those guys who are looking for a nice girl, go join the expats club, or go join, find some friends in Thailand first, because every guy that's married to a Thai girl, the Thai girl knows somebody who's looking for somebody, and they can give you the opinion on the girls that you're going to meet. And of course, if you're friends with the foreigners there in the first place, they're not going to let you get ripped off by a Thai girl, because we hear so many stories. So that would be my number one way of meeting a nice Thai person in Thailand is, join groups, join entertainment groups and meet with other foreigners and go socialize with these foreigners. And then you'll get introduced to nice girls in Thailand. But the internet, is just awash with danger, if you like. You can be be taken for a ride on the internet. But it does work. As I said, this guy says, he's met his wife 5 years ago, Bruce. Well done. 5 years ago. Well done. And congratulations on getting married. And long may it last. Great YouTube channel, lots of info. What would you say is a rough net worth of monthly income for barista? Fire versus like Chiang Mai North. Where are you now? Well, we live in Rayong district, which is about 3 hours away from Pattaya. 3 hours away from Bangkok, an hour and 20 minutes away from Pattaya. Barista. Now, we used to run a coffee shop. You'll never make a living just running a coffee shop over here in Thailand, because there's just too much competition. And unless you sell a large volume of coffee, I had rose-colored spectacles on, thinking we're just going to run a coffee shop, and I bought the top of the range coffee machine and all the accoutrements to do it. And our worst day, we sold 1 cup of coffee all day. One opened at 9 o'clock, finished at 5, and we sold 1 cup of coffee all day. That was the worst day we ever had. So then we diversifies and cooking meals as well. So we sold alcohol, we sold cigarettes, we sold meals, and you had to do that. And even then, we were only making about 15,000 baht a month profit out of working 9 till 5 every day. So just running a coffee shop, being a barista, it's a hard way to make money. All right. Martin, thanks very much for suggestions and advice. Yeah, I hope that all the advice and the information that I give, it is valuable to people. And, a number of people will get benefit. My workarounds for the visas is probably the most popular, because you don't need 800,000 baht tied up in a bank account. For those people who want the elite visa, I can make suggestions for the elite visa that you get your money back. You don't lose 600,000 baht, but you still need to be over 50. But what you get on the elite visa compared to my workaround, there's not much difference, and you get your money back, and you don't have to do any of the paperwork, or somebody does all the paperwork for you. But because I live in Thailand, there are many workarounds, and it's a play with words. And although some people say my methods are corrupt, but I would say not, because I live in Thailand, and I'll do nothing at all to break the law in Thailand, because I love living in Thailand, and I wouldn't do anything to affect that. But what I do is a play on words, and it's 100%, if not more legal than using an agent in Thailand. But again, that's I answer these questions when people send me an email. So in fact, I'll put my email address on there. So if anybody's got any questions like that, I'll answer them. Right, so there's my email. If anybody wants to send me any email with regard to visas and stuff like that, again, there are workarounds, and you don't have to have all your money tied up. And for retirement visas or visas, stay away from the OA visas, because they're very expensive now. I think you have to have $100,000 worth of medical insurance. But you can get an O visa once you come to Thailand. Just enter on a tourist visa, and get you 45 days. And if you use an agent, that might cost up to 38,000 baht, but you'll get a 15-month visa. So there are ways and means around everything, and all totally and utterly 100% legal. Let's have a look. Hotels we travel a lot, usually choose 3-star hotels, clean and convenient, don't need a pool. Same as me, we don't use the pool. And invariably we don't get a hotel room with breakfast because we just like to get up when we want, and then we'll go for breakfast elsewhere, and it gives you something else to do as well. But it's amazing the value you get for hotel rooms in Thailand. Out of interest and not meaning to be intrusive, but can you give us an insight on how you met your Mrs. Les? Yeah, I can give you an insight. I met her in Pattaya. I met the girl in Pattaya, and she used to work in a shirt factory. And she worked in the shirt factory for a number of years, and then decided that she didn't want to work in the shirt factory anymore. So anyway, it's a big, long story, but I met my wife in Pattaya. And as I say, she's one of the most trustworthy, honest girls that I've ever met in my life. And financially wise, everybody seems to think that Thai girls are poor. She's got her own farm, her own house. She doesn't owe a single baht on the house that she's got. Well, those people who watch me videos will have seen it, that we live in our house down by the coast, and when we go to a family, we stay in her house, which is a beautiful house, which is probably 95% finished. So at the end of the day, not all Thai girls are poor. You can find some nice, and she is one of the nicest people that anybody would wish to meet. Thank you very much for wishing me and my missus well. Thank you very much. Does your wife? Yeah, every time we go to the village, people come and ask my wife, have we got a farang that we can introduce to their girls, to their daughters? Because without a doubt, it is a status symbol for a Thai person to be with a foreigner. And because obviously everybody's lives are for the sort of better if you've got a foreigner, because your standard of living goes up for sure. But that can cause some problems as well. But thankfully, in my wife's village, I've been accepted by everybody. Everybody, I smile and wave, and everybody says hello. And it's a lovely place to live. But I also know a guy in his small village. He bought his wife's parents a new sofa, 55-inch TV, a new top-of-the-range fridge freezer, and everybody shunned them because it's just like, oh, now, you're high, so now you don't want to be with us. And so what he thought was doing good to help their standard of living actually worked against them, and people shunned them because it was only because your girlfriend, she's gone and sold a body, that's why you. So be careful what you buy, family members and things like that, because it can alienate them from the rest of the village as well. It's something that I've took very, very good care, of doing, and I've spoken everything with my wife before we actually bought anything or did anything. It's just one of them other thoughts that you've got to have in your mind. You think you're going to do some good, but you can actually do more harm than good. Will your bank in England charge you for leaving a large amount in your account from the house sale while you are living in Thailand? No, they won't charge you anything. They say just leave it in the bank. And I would say leave it in the English bank or American bank, wherever you're from, because then you know the banking system over here. In Thailand, well, at the minute, £85,000 is insured in the banks in the UK. So if the bank went bust, you get £85,000 insured. In Thailand, it's £1 million baht, which is about £20,000. So if you have any more than £20,000 invested in a Thai bank and the bank goes under, you'll only be covered for the £1 million baht. And for those people who have 800,000 baht tied up in the visa application or the visa status, you're almost at 1 million baht then. So anything above that, you're going to lose anyway, or you could potentially lose. Not saying that it's unstable at the minute, but that is one of the reasons why you shouldn't leave a large amount of money in a Thai bank account. What are my thoughts on life insurance? Very important. I would say I've always had life insurance. Life insurance and medical insurance. I've got life insurance, which I took out when I was very young. So the premiums are next to nothing, but the coverage is quite good. If you're going to get life insurance, take it out early. Don't do it when you're late, because it'll cost you an awful lot more money to do it. You need to plan for retirement when you're in your 30s. I know 30s could be 30 odd years away from being retired, especially nowadays. But the earlier you plan, the better retirement you're going to have. But going on from that, life insurance, medical insurance, I think is very important as well. I've always had medical insurance in Thailand, albeit some people say it's not enough. 700,000 bahts worth of cover, and that cost me 25,000 baht a year. I find it much more simple to find 25,000 baht than trying to find 700,000 baht. So, and that goes up until I think about 80 odd year old. And then once you're over 80-year-old, nobody wants old people. So it's going to be prohibitively expensive. But Thailand are bringing a policy in for self-insurance. So by the time I get to 80, my house will be paid for and it'll be worth over 3 million baht. So if anything, that's my money. That's my get out of jail card, if you want, 3 million baht if I need to have any medical treatment, because then I just remortgage or refinance the house for that. So swings and roundabouts, there's things that you can do, and there's things that you can prevent, and there's things you can, look forward in your planning for retirement. Okay, let's have a look. Yes, an OA visa seems to be, O visa seems to be the better solution. Yeah, exactly. The OA visa used to be very popular, but now with $100,000 worth of insurance, it's rapidly becoming less favorable. It's a lot of money, 100,000, and you've got to have that. So if you took the OA visa out for a year, it's $100,000 for a year cover. But if you just wanted the OA visa for a short amount of time, then it's whilst you're actually in Thailand that you need the $100,000 worth of cover. Let's have a look. What about when you return to Thailand, Les? How are the medical facilities there? Sorry to read about your. The health problems that I've got can be treated anywhere in the world, and I've got to say that in my mind, the Thai health service is as good as it is here. The public hospital, because I've taken my friend a few times. He had dementia, got diagnosed with dementia. He got diagnosed with TB. And the treatment that he got in the public hospital was second to none. Okay, it might not be the same standards as it is over here in the UK, but in my mind, a doctor is a doctor. A doctor's qualifications are the same qualifications you get anywhere in the world. And whether a doctor that works in a public hospital, invariably he works in the private hospital as well. So you're still getting the same educated doctor, but he has to do a spell under the health provisions in Thailand. He has to do a certain amount of hours in a public hospital also. So yeah, you're getting the good treatment. Let's have a look. Lovely place your missus have, and lovely farm. So fair play to you. Yeah, as I say, when I met my wife, she didn't tell me she had a farm, anything like that. So I met her, and I based my opinions on the person that I met, not what she had. And it was only a few weeks later when we went up to her farm, and she told me what she had, and and for me it was like, oh wow, I've sort of got a good girl here, and I've got to say she is one of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. totally honest, 100% reliable. But I am with her also. We don't lie to each other, because once you start lying to people, then you've got to have a good memory. So, we're both truthful to each other, and that's very, very difficult to find over here. Um, you know, Truthfulness, I think, is one of the biggest important things. If you trust the person that you're with, fantastic. But if you don't trust them, don't be with them. Go and find somebody else. Right, let's have a look. Hi there, Thai partner, 5 years now. She's just gone back home from the UK. I will be back in 4 weeks. Agree, not all girls are after money. My missus never asked for anything from me. Well done. Well done. Yeah, it's true. There are the Thai peoples that are of good moral scruples and principles. And it's only a few of them that have been tainted by the roads paved with gold with Bangkok and Pattaya. And I think even a lot of people knock the bar girls, and I think the bar girls aren't there to be knocked, because when all's said and done, they were an innocent young girl at one stage, and they've been tarnished by having to work in Pattaya. And as many people say, the Thai girls lie, but so does many foreigners. I'm going to be with you. I'm going to take it out with this. I'm going to send you money. And then the girls never, ever hear from them again. And the guys are just telling the girls what they want to hear to get what they want also. So it's a two-way street. But certainly the Thai girls, once they've been in the game for a while, look at life in a totally different view to the girls who just arrived there on their first day. So Pattaya ruins people's lives, both Thai and foreigners. But I could talk all day about that, because I have my own views on that, and I've actually seen it, and some good stories and some bad stories from Pattaya. But it's a place that breaks people's hearts also, and can loosen your wallet. I've seen a lot more of that, of wallets being destroyed in Thailand. All right. Is it possible to convert from an OA visa to an O retirement visa while you're retired? Yes, you can do it. You can change it over from an OA to a excuse me. Now, you can either go and do it yourself or go and get an agent to do it. An agent is a lot more smooth to be able to do it. And then the benefits of having an O visa as opposed to OA, then you don't need the insurance. So the money you save on the insurance would actually pay for the agent to do all the work for you. But it's possible, as I say. I know a couple of guys that I've showed them in the right direction to change from an OA to an O visa. Now, supposedly, it is under the discretion of the Thai immigration whether they actually give you an O visa or not. But they're wanting tourists now. They're wanting people to stay there. So as far as getting visas are concerned, it's probably the easiest it's been for a long, long, long time, because they want tourists to stay there. Now they're looking for the wealthy tourists, but there's lots of Indian people there. And I'm just wondering why, the hundreds and hundreds of Indians that don't spend any money in the bars, they don't spend any money in the clubs, they just go there. They're like non-dollar non-dollar tourists, like the Chinese used to be called over once over, because $0 tourists, because everything that they pay is paid in China. So anyway, anybody got any more questions? We've got 55 people still in the chat room and 28 thumbs up. Thank you very much for all the people that give the thumbs up, and the 55 who are still in the chat room. So any more questions? Any more questions? We've been on here now for 10, an hour and a half, about an hour and a half altogether. I think my longest stream I did on here was about 3 hours, and that was when I was in Thailand. So, okay, for some reason that if nobody's putting anything on the chats or whatever. Now that was the last question, as I say. Anybody from changing from an O visa to an O retirement. Yeah, at time again, I do this as a hobby. I enjoy doing this. As working in the fire brigade, I always help people, and this is what I do when I do my videos. And if I can help people along the way, it's a fantastic. And it's just been nice to be helpful to people. I wish I had people to ask these questions when I first came to Thailand. I had a friend who showed me the way in Thailand, but once he'd gone back home, then I had to stand on my own 2 feet. But the knowledge that somebody can pass on to you who actually live here. So talk to all the YouTubers, and majority of them are there to give you advice and on how to go forward with that as well. So, the YouTubers are a great source of knowledge for people to come over here to Thailand. Take all the information, trade it off against other people, and draw your own conclusions. Right, let's have a look. I have many bar girls that are just friends. They are lovely people. I always ensure me and the missus pop and see them. Shame many people treat them. Yeah, put yourself. Don't judge a person unless you walk in their shoes, and then you can judge the person if you've actually been there. And the bar girls get so much stick, and I'll stick up for them because at the end of the day, I think they're the human beings again at the end of the day. And they're doing whatever they're doing to help themselves out or help the family out. And it's not the most pleasant way of earning any money. But when you're young and beautiful, use the assets that you've got. I heard about your issues. Do you think anything to do with being in the fire brigade and being exposed to smoke? Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. And that's what's getting looked at the minute with regard to the emphysema. I've got to go and see the doctor, and I just want to go and have a chat with him with regard to, the future of it getting worse. But I did have a little giggle when I read his explanation letter, and I seem to think, did he actually read his notes before he sent me the letter? Because he suggested that I stop smoking and that I should stop sitting around people passive smoking. Well, in all the notes that they took on me over the hospital, I never ever smoked. And the only time I've sat passively with people who smoke was in the fire brigade in my younger days, in my first 10 or 15 years. And then, smoking became a big issue and everything stopped. But yeah, I breathed a lot of nasty stuff in over 30 years, so that's got to play some part in this. But do I blame the fire brigade for it? No, I don't. It's just one of them things, isn't it? I worked in the steelworks 2 years before I joined the fire brigade, and that was probably more of a worse place for breathing in. I worked on the ore terminal, loading the trucks up with the different ores, and the dust that came from there was horrendous because the cabs never ever shut properly. And when you catch it in the light, all the stuff that's floating around in the air. And of course, we didn't have any masks on then, so you're breathing it all in. It's not very good. So yes, I would say the fire brigade had a big part in that. I know that this is a much discussed topic and not easy to handle for foreigners financially. What can or should be expected from a foreigner? Supporting the family is expected from Thai people. Yeah, it is. I've discussed this a few times on my videos with regard to salary, whether you should pay, whether you shouldn't pay. And I give my wife a salary every month. And out of that salary, or housekeeping, there are many ways that you can call it, and it is what it is. And for those people who disagree with it or agree with it, draw your own conclusions. But my wife never asks anything extra from me. She's got her responsibilities. She has a son that needs to be, his clothes need to be bought, schooling, education. Her parents look after him. So she has some financial responsibilities there. And because I want her to be with me 24 hours a day, so we can go on holidays, we can do all the things that we want to do. But without her working, who's going to pay for that anyway? And the answer is me or you. Because if your wife or girlfriend has got responsibilities, it's you that's going to pay ultimately anyway. So how would you feel if you were a girl asking you, oh, can I have some money for some shoes? Can I have some money for a school uniform? Can I have some money for this? Can I have some money for that? Always be beholden upon you to provide, which then is going to make you angry because, oh, she's always asking for money. So give them a salary, talk about the salary, give them a fixed amount of money, and then they never ever have to ask you for money again. And it gives them their security also, and it gives them their self-worth because now that they've got an income also. I compensate my wife so she doesn't have to work, so she can be with me 24 hours a day. In Thailand, it's not like every other country, the Western countries, they have responsibilities also. And you've got to get that in your mind, is that, yes, once you're with a Thai girl, the family comes along with it as well. Some other families are more demanding than others. I'm lucky that my wife's family have never asked for a single baht of us because they're farmers. In reality, they're quite wealthy also, because they've got their own farm and they have a good life. But I understand also that sometimes the Thai girl can be forever asking money for this, money for that, sick buffalo, sick dog, sick cat, sick everything. You just walk away from somebody like that. Go and find somebody that isn't so demanding. That's a thorny little issue, yeah. And again, I've made a couple of videos about that. It had mixed reviews, but then because of the subject, it's always going to have mixed reviews. Have you contacted the FB union about your emphysema? They may be able to help with some kind of compensation or disability payments, as it's highly likely to be working related. Yeah, I'm going to give them a call. I'm going to give our union members a call. I've been directed towards a solicitor about it anyway, on this no win, no fee thing. And he reckons there's a 60% chance I've got a claim against the fire brigade anyway. But bearing in mind, it's only been a week since I was diagnosed with it. So I'm still plodding around, seeing what I can do. And, I don't blame the fire brigade for it, but as a result of working in the fire brigade, I've got industrial illness. So there are mechanisms out there where you can make a claim for it, and it's all legal, and it's not been against anybody. It's just the system that we have. So I'm looking into that in the next week or 2 weeks. Yeah, the warm and the dry air in Thailand certainly does. As I said, it's only when I've been here that I've coughed and coughed and coughed a lot more, with the cold air and the damp air. You and Pattaya, oh yeah, he's a good guy. Him, everything Pattaya. The information he gives you for the hotels and stuff like that. He's one of my regular watches for YouTube. He comes up with some good information. Yeah, I mean the humidity is a lot more in Thailand, but that sort of doesn't affect me. It's the coldness and the dampness of the air here that, for me, that hurts. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to go because my sister is chomping at the bit. She wants to get the dinner on because here now it is 10 to 12. So thank you very much for all those people who come and join the live stream. I hope you found it interesting. I hope you got some value from it. And until the next live stream, maybe in a couple of weeks' time or something like that. But if people want to meet up with me in the red car, just send me an email. I'll put my email on there, but it's also on the information. If anybody wants to send me an email or if anybody wants to meet up, I'm here until the 13th of January. So anybody that's on the Newcastle plane going to Thailand also, give me a shout and say we can meet up the night before. So thank you very, very much for everybody. 38 thumbs up. Happy as Larry with that. Thank you very much. Carl Smith, thank you. Everybody, thank you very much. Much, much appreciated. Take care, everybody. Bye for now.